There we are. All right, good evening. And welcome to another edition of Tales and Cocktails. This evening, the author is Eudora Welty. Now, a few things about her. Her novel, The Optimist's Daughter, won the Pulitzer Prize in 1973, and she received so many awards, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the Order of the South, the National Book Award for Fiction. I had the great pleasure of narrating her novels Delta Wedding and Losing Battles, and also the novella The Ponder Heart. And I'm going to read for you tonight an all right, I hope. All right, are we there? I hope so. So, The Ponder Heart. The narrator, the narrating voice, is that of Edna Earl Ponder. My Uncle Daniel is just like your uncle, if you've got one. Only he has one weakness. He loves society, and he gets carried away. If he hears our voices, he'll come right down those stairs, supper ready or no. When he sees you sitting in the lobby of the Beulah, he'll take the other end of the sofa and then move closer up to see what you've got to say for yourself. And then he's liable to give you a little hug and start trying to give you something. Do you any good to be bashful. He won't let you refuse. All he might do is forget tomorrow what he gave you today and give it to you all over again. Sweetest disposition in the world. That's his big gray Stetson hanging on the rack right over your head. See what a large head size he wears? Well, Uncle Daniel had got clear up to his 40s before we ever dreamed that such a thing as love flitted through his mind. He's so sweet. Sometimes I think if we hadn't showed him that widow, but he was bound to see her. He has eyes. Miss Tea-Cake McGee lived here all her life. She sings in the choir of the Baptist church every blessed Sunday. Couldn't get her out. And sings louder than all the rest put together. So loud, it could make you lose your place. I'll go back a little for a minute. Of course, we're all good Presbyterians. Grandpa was an elder. The Beulah Bible class and the Beulah Hotel are both named after Grandma. And my other grandma was the second to longest living Sunday school teacher they've ever had, very highly regarded. Miss Tea-Cake McGee is, of course, a sistrunk. The sistrunks are all Baptists, big Baptists, and Professor McGee's widow. He wasn't professor of anything, just real smart. Smarter than the sistrunks, anyway. He'd never worked either. He was like Uncle Daniel in that respect. With Miss Tea-Cake, everything dates from since I lost Professor McGee. A passenger train hit him. That shows you how long ago his time was. Uncle Daniel thought what he was wild about at that time was the fair. And I kept saying to myself, maybe that was it. He carried my plant over Monday in the tub and entered it for me, as usual, under best other than named. It took the blue ribbon. And he went on through the flowers and quilts and the art, passing out compliments on both sides of it, and out the other door of the fine arts tent, and was loose on the midway. From then on, the whole week long, he'd go back to the fair every whip stitch, morning, noon, or night, hand in hand with any soul, man, woman, or child that chose to let him, and spend his change on them, and stay till the cows come home. He'd even go by himself. I went with him till I dropped. And with no more leave than he'd clamp my arm, Edna Earl looked back yonder down the hill at all those lights still burning, like he'd never seen lights before. He'd say, "Shh, listen at intrepid Elsie Fleming." Intrepid Elsie Fleming rode a motorcycle around the wall of death, which let her do if she wants to ride a motorcycle that bad. It was the time she wasn't riding I objected to, when she was out front on the platform warming up her motor. That was nearly the whole time. You could hear her day and night in the remotest parts of this hotel, and with the sheet over your head, clear over the sound of the merry-go-round and all. She dressed up in pants. Uncle Daniel said he had to admire that. He admired everything he saw at the fair that year, to tell the truth, and everything he heard, and always expected to win the Indian blanket. Never did. They never let him. I'll never forget when I first realized what flitted through his mind. He had belted me into the Ferris wheel, then vanished, instead of climbing into the next car. And the first thing I made out from the middle of the air was Uncle Daniel's big round hat up on the platform of the Escapade sideshow, right in the middle of those ostrich plumes. There he was, passing down the line of those girls doing their come-on dance out front, and handing them out ice cream cones, right while they were shaking their heels to the music. Not in very good time. He got the cream from the Baptist ladies' tent, banana, and melting fast. And I couldn't get off the Ferris wheel till I'd been around my 9 times, no matter how often I told them who I was. When I finally got loose, I flew up to Uncle Daniel, and he stood there and hardly knew me, licking away and beside himself with pride and joy. And his 60 cents was gone, too. Well, he would have followed the fair to Silver City when he left, if I'd turned around good. He kept telling me for a week after that those dancing girls wore beyond compare the prettiest dresses and feather pieces he ever saw on ladies' backs in his life, and could dance like the fairies. Everyone smiled at me, he said, and yet I liked Miss Elsie Fleming very well, too. So the only thing to be thankful for is he didn't try to treat intrepid Elsie Fleming. She might have bitten him. Eudora Welty, from The Ponder Heart. Eudora Welty is wonderful. If you haven't read her, please do. If it's been a long time, refresh. Because her prose is so wonderful to read aloud or to yourself. And she is a perfectly marvelous storyteller. So, that's our author for this evening, Eudora Welty. Thank you so much. See you next week.